So I want to illustrate how to draft the pattern for a regular sleeve, a regular sleeve that is basic sleeve. Yes. So I'll be working with now the length of the sleeve you are working with will determine the length of your sleeve at the end of the day. Yes, so I'm just going to draft the pattern for a short sleeve. Now, if you are drafting pattern for a long sleeve, then you ensure to make sure that you have the sleeve round measurement as well. The sleeve round, I mean the sleeve circumference as well alongside the length of the sleeve. So since I'm working with a short sleeve, I'm going to be working with my armhole circumference. I'm also going to be working with my sleeve length and also going to be working with my sleeve circumference. That is the sleeve length round. Yes. So now this is my starting line. Yeah. This is my starting line. So I will just go ahead and start drafting my pattern here. Now, mind you, when you want to cut on your fabric, you ensure that your fabric is folded into two. So let's get right into it. Now, the sleeve length I'm going to be working with is um, 8 inches. Is 8 inches for my short sleeve length. Yours can be more than that or less than. Now, 8 inches for my short sleeve length. Then I will be adding hemming allowance of about 1.5, no, 2 inches, sorry, because I'll be needing half inches up, 1.5, I'll be needing 1.5 down. So yes, so I have a total of 10 inches here. I will just mark it here. I'll mark 10 inches all the way to this point. This is to help me achieve a straight line. Now, the next thing you want to do is your sleeve, your armhole circumference. The armhole circumference I'm working with is 18 inches. So I'm going to be dividing 18 inches by 2, and 18 inches divided by 2 will give me 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches at this point. I'll mark 9 inches all the way down. This is how best I think I can explain it so that you can understand better. So I'll mark 9 inches all the way down. Now let me just create another straight line. Now the next thing you want to do is you are going to measure for the armhole depth. You are going to measure about 3.5 to 4 inches for your armhole depth. So let me make use of 4 inches. Basically, for an adult, you can use this particular amount, but for a child, you can use between um, 3 inches to 2.5. Let's say 2.5 to 3 inches. You can use as much as that. Yes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I would now I want to make a line like a curvy line, like an S, slightly S shape that will go and come to this point. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is let me just show us a simple trick that you can use to achieve that. I will just mark about 3 inches here. I'll mark 3 inches here, and then I'll mark about um, another 3 inches here. Now, I want to draw a a slightly S shape that will give me the kind of curve that my handle should have. So I'm just going to go this way. And you see, now you can decide that you want it to come this way a bit. You just curve it inwards, like you making it a bit smoother, and then this goes through. Can you see? Now this is my armhole depth and this is the rising part of my sleeve. Now let's check if we'll be able to get our um, 18 inches at the end of the day from this curve. So we'll just use our measuring tape to follow the shape and then we'll check. Now I have about 11 three quarter. That is, sorry, I have about 10 three quarter, which is 10.75. Now this is more than enough for me at the end of the day. Now one trick you must know when you are when you are sewing a sleeve that I mean making use of a fabric that is not stretchy. Peradventure you are working with a crepe fabric that is not stretchy. You are working with Ankara fabric that is not stretchy. Now you have to make sure that you make provision for at least half inch, not more than half inch extra. That means that at the end of the day, after sewing off your sewing allowance, that is your seam allowance, you should have about 9.5 around your cuff area when you are done. So now I have more than enough. So if I'm to take my 9.5 at the end of the day, I think I should still have excess of about 1.25, 1.25 inch, which will serve as my what sewing allowance. Now the next thing we are going to do now, for example, after imputing this, after doing this method I just showed you, and you measure it round and it's giving you less than what you need, all you just have to do is to extend at this point, just extend at this point the quantity of inches. The more, I mean the inches you need more, you understand. Peradventure after measuring this space round and you got exactly what you needed to fit it into the armhole and you did not have any extra inches to sew off as your sewing allowance, just go ahead and add the extra sewing allowance at this point and you are good to go. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to impute our sleeve round measurement. Now working with sleeve round measurement of 14 inches, 14 divided by 2 will give me 7 inches. Now I want to add my sewing allowance. Now the sewing allowance I have extra here was about 1.25. Now adventure, there's another thing to consider for your sewing allowance. Adventure, you are making use of an Ankara fabric that you'll be using lining for. You need to make provision for an extra inch for which you will use to turn in the lining inwards. If I mean to have a figure, I mean a nice finishing at the end of the day. So if I'm adding that extra half inch to it, that means it will be giving me 7.5 plus the 1.25 that we have excess here. I will just add it up and this is where it's going to be. Now let's add extra half inch that we need for our lining as well. So I will just add it here as well. So our line is going to extend this way. So what I will just do is I'm going to connect these lines together and our sleeve is as good as done. Now there's another technique that is needed. Now for your sleeve and your armhole, the front armhole is usually deeper than the back armhole. So also should be your sleeve. The side that you'll be fixing to the front has to be deeper than the side that you'll be fixing to the back. You understand? So now what we'll do is this particular part is deep enough for our front armhole, so I'm just going to go up at this point by half inch for the back armhole. So what I will just do is I'm going to pick it up from this point. I will connect it this way and then I'll connect it back. Can you see? So this point here, this side will be for the front armhole, while this side will be for the back armhole. Now mind you, it is one sleeve you are cutting over. At the end of the day you will be having one side for the, I mean when you open your sleeve up after cutting it up, then you can now indicate the side that is for inside and the side that is for outside. Now when you are cutting your sleeve on your fabric, ensure to cut from here, ensure to cut from here. Then you can now open it up and then indicate the side that is going to be for the front part, and then you can now trim it off using this pattern paper as well. So this is how to draft your basic sleeve. Now for example, you want to make your sleeve a 3/4 length, you want to make it longer, all you just have to do is measure from this point to the length that you want, then indicate your, add your sleeve circumference to it and connect it. It's as simple as that. Add your necessary sewing allowance to it and you are good to go. So we are done cutting this now, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. See where I'm cutting this now. I'm not cutting from the inner part, I'm cutting from the outer part. So this is how your sleeve pattern should look like. Yours can be, smaller than this depending on how your armhole is, how big you are, or how your arm is and all. So this is how to cut your basic sleeve. This side is the closed end. That's the part that will be folded, while this side is the open end. And then that's it. So you cut your fabric out like this, then you now open it up. You open it up on both sides. Your fabric will be opened up like this, the same way it is. Then you can now trim this side off for your for the front part, and this other side will remain the way it should be. It will remain untouched. So this is how to go about it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to ensure that I have a straight line at this point. That's my sleeve connecting each other. That's like a demarcation, because I wouldn't want to add excessively. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to create like a straight line at this point. That's as a guide. This will serve as a guide for me. Now, after doing this, the next thing you want to do is we're going to be adding, now the sleeve circumference that was taken here was taken for a fitted sleeve. So I'm just going to add 1.5 to this point. But the freeness, if you look at the sleeve round area, it's a bit free. So, and then I'm going to add half inch for the sewing allowance. Now at this point as well, want our puff to extend by 5.5, and then I will just add half inch for the same allowance as well. Now at this point now, our this is where our this is the point where our armhole is going to be taking off. That is our armhole circumference. This is where it's going inwards. And this part we want to create now is a part that will be having the what is it called, the structured look or the puffy exaggerated look. And this point extends a bit. It has this a little bit of extension. So I will just go ahead and extend it by, let's say, 3/4 inch. Let's make use of 3/4 inch. So we are going to have something going up like this. Can you see? It's going to have something like this, like that puffy effect. Then at this point, Now I can decide to make use of my what's it called, my ambo curve. So let's try to make use of it and see. So you bring it, let it have this curvy look. Can you see? And then let the curvy effect come back and meet this side. All you just have to do is to smoothen it out. Let it come back and meet this one. I mean, 2 inches you have here. Can you see? Just smoothen it out. So here we go. So we have this. So this is how it's going to look at the end of the day. Now, if you look at that picture there, it looks like what is it called? It's for a child, so it's not going to be as big as this at the end of the day. So if you are making it for a child, you can use less than that amount, or you can even use up to these 6 inches for the child, so that it gives you that that exaggerated look at the end of the day. So we are done drafting that I mean the sleeve. So the next thing you're going to do is you have to ensure that, don't forget, this is where you are fixing to your armhole. This other side is to be closed up outwardly. Now, what you do to give your sleeve that structural look effect is to texture it with the necessary texturing material. Use your paper stay or your stay. Double your stay if it is your stay you are making use of. Double it, double it so that it can be firm. Double it so that it can be firm. And you can even try using a crinoline. You can decide to make use of a crinoline um, material. You can decide to make use of a crinoline. So this is how it should look like an half heart shape. You understand? Heart shape goes like this. It's more like a half heart shape. You understand? So we are done. So this is how it looks like when you are done. So we are done, 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 done. So as good as done.